What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. One of the most glamour divisions in the sport of boxing is the welterweight division. You have great fights of the past, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Thomas Hitman Hearns. You had Sugar Ray Leonard taking on Wilfred Benitez. You had Sugar Ray Leonard taking on Roberto Duran. You had Floyd Mayweather Jr. taking on Manny Pacquiao. You had Floyd Mayweather Jr. taking on Sugar Shane Mosley. And the fight that people have been craving for, it's been percolating for 4 years, have been Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford. With that fight being negotiated for well over 8 months, the welterweight division has been in a holding pattern. The division has been stalled out. A lot of fighters on the sideline waiting for that fight to come to fruition, or if the fight doesn't come to fruition, they will get first dibs at the unified welterweight champion and cash cow of the welterweight division, and one of the cash cows of boxing, Errol Spence Jr. With that fight finally getting over the finish line, and it's definitely going down July 29th in Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada at T-Mobile Arena. One of the rising young guns in the welterweight division, Jerome Boots Ennis, has a dance partner. He'll be fighting July 22nd in Atlantic City, New Jersey versus Roiman Villa, who's coming off an upset victory over Rashidi Speedy Ellis. Now, both of these guys fought on the same card, which was headlined by Gervonta Tank Davis taking on Hector Garcia. Both guys were victorious, but Villa put on a better performance as far as a better overall crowd-pleasing performance. I'm not saying that he's a better fighter than Jerome Boots Ennis, but a lot of people took a step back with the performance that Jerome Boots Ennis put on display when he took on Karen. But Karen wasn't trying to fight. He wasn't trying to engage. He was on his bicycle. His goal was to survive 12 rounds. He's a guy that's hard to look good against. Now, granted, Jerome Boots Ennis did not do a good job of cutting off the ring. He was loading up on too many of his punches. He should have been using his jab, in particular the jab to the body to stifle the movement of Karen. He did not do that. And that and many other reasons was the reason. Was the reason why the fight with Karen went the distance. With all that being said, Villa is a better stylistic matchup for Jerome Boots Ennis. He's a come-forward pressure fighter, so Jerome Boots Ennis will be able to display his skills as a great counterpuncher, a pure boxer, very technical, a guy that does have power. The comparison to Roy Jones, I think, is a little bit much, but he is a very, very talented fighter. It should be a very intriguing matchup, him versus Roiman Villa. The fight will go down in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Atlantic City, New Jersey, here in recent memory, has not been hosting a lot of big fights. But back in the day, Arturo Gatti headlined big events in Atlantic City, New Jersey. One of the biggest fights back in the 90s was Arturo Gatti taking on Floyd Mayweather Jr. That fight took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Bernard, the executioner Hopkins, one of the greatest middleweights in boxing history, has several big fights in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So maybe that is a place that used to be a hotbed that could be resurrected and become once again a hotbed of boxing through the talent and power of Jerome Boots Ennis. Could you imagine a big fight at one of those casinos, Jerome Boots Ennis taking on a Virgil Ortiz Jr.? A la Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Arturo Gatti, which did 300,000 pay-per-view buys, and that was Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s debut. I'm pushing these words, debut on pay-per-view. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Another little bit of a tidbits in boxing. The Devin Haney versus Vasil Lomachenko did 150,000 pay-per-view buys according to Dan Raphael. That's good solid numbers for Dan to produce for the reigning undisputed lightweight champion. A lot of people are going to shit on those numbers saying, okay, Tank did 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, and he did 150,000 pay-per-view buys. But you got to put everything in context. That's Devin Haney's first pay-per-view. He was fighting a guy in Vasil Lomachenko, who, despite being one of the top fighters in boxing, has not produced great numbers at the gates. Look at the fight he did with Anthony Crolla. That fight was at Staples Center. Staples Center holds 20,000, and that fight had around 6,000 people in attendance for that fight, so it wasn't even half full. His biggest numbers is when he did a fight with Luke Campbell over there in the UK, and that was Luke Campbell's home country. When he's fought over here in the United States, his numbers have not been that great, that being Vasil Lomachenko. So for him to do those type of numbers, 150,000 pay-per-view buys, and he sold out MGM Grand Arena, 14,346, if I'm not mistaken, a sold-out crowd, a near sellout crowd, which produced a $3 million gate. And with the fight doing 150,000 pay-per-view buys, that means it grossed around $9 million. That's $12 million, not including sponsorship and international money. So the fight was a success. Devin Haney got $4 million, and Vasil Lomachenko got $3 million. You have to pay the undercard fighters. You know, the promoters got to eat. They got to make money. The managers, trainers, they get a percentage of the fighter's purse. All in all, Top Rank Boxing made money, and it was a successful event. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. I got another little bit of news that haven't been reported. Giovanni Cabrera will take on Isaac Cruz. That will be one of the undercard fights for Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. on July 29th. So it will be the return of Pitbull Cruz. He will be on the undercard. I don't know if it would be the co-main event for Crawford versus Spence, but it would definitely be on the undercard, as that undercard is still in the process of being finalized. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.